Hey yo everyone, welcome back to Good Talk HQ. I'm JP and today I'll be taking you through some of the best Nintendo eShop deals that you can pick up right now, and every game in today's video is under $5 and at an all-time low. Now this is the final part of our ongoing coverage for Nintendo's latest big sale, and so I'll compile all of the great deals here at the end of this video so you can find them all in one place. It should make it a bit easier to narrow down your final picks. Before we do though, let me take a quick moment and thank you all for hanging out every week. It truly means a lot to us, and of course, if you enjoy the videos or we've helped you save a few dollars here or there, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's free and it really does help us keep growing here on a platform which has become more and more about short form content and clickbait thumbnails with big old goofy faces all over them. They've put a major focus on watch time lately. YouTube wants to keep people from leaving here and heading over to TikTok or Instagram or whatever, so the longer we can keep someone watching, the more YouTube will then push our videos out to a broader audience. With all that said though, let's go ahead and get started. Stay safe, my friends. Alright, we'll start today with Ponpu, which is maybe one of the cooler games on sale this week. It has a download around 1.7 gigs and offers a unique experience with both single player and multiplayer game modes that can be enjoyed in both local and online play. The single player mode and all three of the multiplayer game modes do have similar gameplay mechanics with different goals that separate them from one another. If you're a fan of the Bomberman series, you'll know exactly what to expect here with characters that can set items down or push them towards the enemies to do damage and take them out. You also have some special items that you can use as well, and right now this is on sale for just $224, marked down 85% with the deal ending on the 11th. Up next we have Super Cyborg, which is a side-scrolling run-and-gun shooter that was inspired by the original Contra games from the arcade and NES days. It has a download just under 200 megabytes and should offer about 5 hours of gameplay on average. Now with this one you get 7 distinct levels to blast your way through with crazy bullet hell action and intense boss battles. Plus on top of that, the game has local co-op for 2 people as well, and it does have a difficulty slider for those that find the game just a bit too difficult by default. Right now you can pick this one up for just $248, marked down 65%, and the deal ends on the 9th. The Castle of Heart and Jet Cave Adventure bundle is a package that includes 2 action platformers. Castle of Heart is a bit slower, more tactical, with weight behind every move that you make, and the main reason for that is that you play as a cursed knight who's slowly being turned into stone with every step you take. Now when you kill an enemy it will delay this effect, and if you take damage it speeds it up. It's a pretty cool game. In addition you get Jet Cave Adventure, which is a much faster game with more of a cartoonish look to it. They're both great platformers on their own, but putting them in a bundle makes this one of the best deals this week, and right now it's on sale for just $299, marked down 90% until the 8th with a download a little over 6 gigs. Gibbon Beyond the Trees is an action platformer from Broken Rules Interactive. It tells the story of a lost Gibbon trying to escape to freedom and features a really cool momentum-based platforming mechanic that allows you to swing and launch from branch to branch as you try to find the best route to take in each area. It has a couple of different game modes and it does offer some replay value as well, but the main story should only last about an hour or 2, so keep that in mind. If you're interested in this one, make sure to grab it up before the deal ends on the 4th. It's marked down 80% to just $299, and you'll need a little over a gig for the install. Lila Sky Arc is a single-player isometric adventure game with a heavy emphasis on puzzle solving, and most of the game is themed around music. Now it does have a really colorful presentation, and the story follows Lila as she attempts to save her world, which is in grave danger from an evil dark lord called the Conductor. The game is packed with secrets and the story is pretty emotional, plus the boss battles are really creative. Again, they utilize that musical theme and add in some variety as well. If you haven't played this one, it's kind of a hidden gem in my opinion, and right now you can pick it up for just $299, marked down 80%, and the deal ends on the 5th. You'll need a little under 400 megabytes for the install. Up next we have Ziggurat, which is a single-player first-person roguelike shooter with a download around 640 megabytes, and naturally the game has a good bit of replay value here, so your mileage will likely vary a bit as well. Now each run is different from the last, and it has that classic feel for sure. The gameplay is fast and fun with cool weapons and upgrades, and a good bit of enemy variety, plus the boss battles were pretty epic, and right now it's on sale for just $299, marked down 80% with the deal ending on the 11th. Sentry City is a brand new side-scrolling puzzle platformer that at first glance comes off as an action game, but you really do have to take your time and plan your movements, otherwise you'll die over and over. It has a download a little under 300 megabytes and should last a couple hours to wrap up. Now while the game is a bit about trial and error, to make up for this you have unlimited lives and generous checkpoints to help out. The pixelated graphics create a nice atmosphere, and there's a timer that will reward you for getting faster as you learn the layout of the levels. Then at the end of each one you take out an AI brain controlling that area of the city to move on to the next. Right now it's on sale for just $3.99, marked down 20%, and the deal ends on the 5th. Up next we have Ghost Blade HD, which is a vertical shoot 'em up here on the console. It has a download a bit under 1 gig and offers local co-op for 2 players. On top of that, if you play in handheld or tabletop modes, you can actually flip the switch upwards and it will take up the whole screen. It features big, colorful sprites with epic boss battles, different ships that you can pilot, and there are even in-game achievements as well for those of you that are into that kind of thing. The arcade-style gameplay is addictive, but this is definitely not an easy game, and you do have limited lives and continues, so keep that in mind. Right now it's on sale for just $4.49, marked down 70%, and the deal ends on the 12th. Cyber Citizen Shockman 2, A New Menace, is another brand new platformer here on the console. It has a download around 140 megabytes and again offers local co-op for 2 players, just like our last game. Now I guess calling it brand new is a bit of a stretch. It's new here, but it's actually a port of a game that was released back in the early 90s. And with this version, there's a few new levels they've added in, plus you have the all-new English translation, in addition to the standard Japanese version, making it a bit more accessible for the Western audience. They've also added in some digital bonuses as well, and right now you can pick it up for just $4.79, marked down 20% with the deal ending again on the 12th. Beholgar is a retro-inspired action platformer that offers a Metroidvania-like gaming experience. The download is just over 500 megabytes and it offers about 4 to 6 hours of gameplay. Now it has a nice variety of levels and enemies, with each zone having its own set of unique monsters that you'll have to take out. It does play a lot like older Castlevania games with tough combat and even tougher platforming sections. The pixel art is truly amazing here with this one, but there are a few minor frame rate hiccups on occasion, so you want to keep that in mind if that's something that really bothers you. Right now you can pick it up for just $4.99, marked down to half price and dropping under $5, again until the 18th. Next we have Morbid, the 7 Acolytes, which is a single-player action RPG with an isometric view and a stunning pixel art presentation. The game offers about 8 to 10 hours of main story gameplay, and this is a gruesome and disturbing Souls-like game featuring epic and brutal boss battles, diverse environments, and a deeply narrative-driven story. You can find upgrades to your weapons and gear and skills along the way as you challenge the 7 possessed acolytes, each with their own godlike powers, in order to save the kingdom. Now this is definitely a tough game, but if you're up for the challenge, you can pick it up for just $4.99, marked down 80% and matching an all-time low until the 11th. You'll need a little under 800 megabytes for the install. Teslagrad Remastered is a single-player puzzle platformer that offers about 3 to 4 hours of gameplay, and it has a download around 1.5 gigs. In this one we play as a young boy who finds himself lost in an ancient tower after narrowly escaping capture from the evil king. It does feature a pretty cool magnetic movement system that allows you to traverse the levels and help solve puzzles that you'll encounter along the way. The remastered version brings updated audio and graphics, new challenge levels, and some quality of life enhancements as well, making this the definitive way to play the game. Right now you can pick it up for just $4.99, again marked down to half price, and the deal ends on the 22nd. Witchcrafty is a single-player action platformer with light Metroidvania elements sprinkled in. It has a download around 420 megabytes and should offer about 4 to 5 hours of gameplay. The controls are responsive and the combat is fun, plus the story itself is pretty comedic at times, and the game has a pretty decent variety in both the enemy type and in the environments, and they're all loaded with secrets that you can find. You can also master different magical elements that will make both traversal and combat even more fun, and the pixelated graphics look gorgeous here on the console. Right now it's on sale for just $4.99, again marked down to half price, and the deal ends on the 17th. Alright everyone, and now for the recap of games that are still on sale from our last few episodes. Hopefully this helps narrow down your final picks, having them all wrapped up in one video. Apple Knight is a 2D action platformer available for one player from developer Limitless. It has a download just under 400 megabytes and offers about 3 to 4 hours of gameplay. It gives the player a few different difficulty options to make it fun for all ages and offers a wide variety of weapon and armor upgrades along with new abilities that you can unlock. There's also an endless mode which just randomizes the levels and lets you go until you die. Overall, there's a lot of content here, and right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 80% from the normal $9.99, and the deal ends on the 8th. Up next, we have Apple Slash, which is a pretty unique single-player top-down adventure with twin-stick hack-and-slash mechanics added in. It offers a short but enjoyable main story game mode and can be beaten in under an hour, but it is another game that you can pick up and play in short play sessions or on the go, or just come back to whenever you want. The combat is fun and it runs well here on the console, plus of course you can see it has a unique graphical style to it, and while that won't be for everyone, I actually kinda like games like this. Right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 60%, and the deal ends on the 11th. You'll need about 180 megabytes for the download. Castle Formers is a single-player action RPG with easy-to-learn mechanics that makes it a great game for beginners or if you have a younger family member in the house. As for the story, it's pretty linear as well, again making it easy to follow, and the gameplay is pretty fun. Now it's split into two segments. You have the normal 2D questing where you go out and gather resources and take down monsters, and then you have the tower defense side, which happens at night when the baddies come and try to take down your home. Now the game does start off a bit slow, but it does pick up over time, and right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down from the normal $4.99, and the deal ends on the 11th. You'll need a little over 100 megabytes for the install. Next we have Clash Force, which is a single-player 2D arcade-style action platformer with a small download around 50 megabytes, and while the main story is only about an hour long, it's another game that you can come back to over and over again, plus you have 3 playable characters for a bit of variety as well. Now it features an auto-fire button so you won't have to worry about icing down your thumb after a game session, and that's always appreciated. And there's a difficulty slider, which does alter the game quite a bit, so if you find it's just a little bit too hard by default, you can play around with that and it should help out. On top of that, the game does save your progress, however you do lose any weapon upgrades that you've acquired if you decide to hop back in later. It's another game that really does hit that retro feel, and if you're interested you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 60%, again until the 11th. Cosmos Bit is a retro-themed Metroidvania for one player. It was published by Retallica Games and has a download around 100 megabytes. Now the main story should take roughly 2 hours to wrap up, and it follows a space warrior as we battle our way across the hostile enemy planet. It features a beautiful synthwave soundtrack and authentic retro graphics that were inspired by the late 80s and early 90s, and it really does come through in the final product. To me, this is a hidden gem for any fan of the genre, and right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 60%, and the deal ends again on the 11th. Dojoran is another fun platformer from Retallica Games. Again, it's a single-player adventure, but this time the game features a really neat 1-bit graphical style. The download is just over 50 megabytes, and it offers more than 25 levels that start off simple enough, and of course gradually get tougher from there. Luckily though, the game is pretty generous with checkpoints and you have unlimited lives, so overall it's not that bad. Right now it's on sale for just $1.99, again marked down 60%, and the deal ends on the 11th. You can expect roughly 3 hours or so from the pickup. Up next we have Goblin Sword, which is a single-player side-scrolling action RPG with a roughly 10-hour main story and a small download at around 250 megabytes. Now with this one you get more than 80 cool levels, fun boss battles, collectibles, and the unique feature here is that you have different animal forms that you can switch between, and you'll have to do this to move around or solve puzzles or even sometimes in combat. It's a great platformer with a ton of content, and right now it's marked down 60% to just $1.99, matching an all-time low, and the deal ends on the 4th of next month. Inside is a single-player puzzle-style adventure game from publisher Playdead, and while the story will only last maybe a couple of playthroughs at just 3 or 4 hours, I'd have to say this is one of my favorite games here on the console. You start off just like many other games in this genre, alone and with no rhyme or reason as to why you're in your current situation, and you just have to go from there. You'll have to be careful though, everything is a one-hit death. Now the atmosphere is incredible, and this is a must-play at just $1.99, marked down 90% and matching an all-time low until the 8th. Moon Raider is a really cool 2D action platformer that offers local co-op for 2 players, and it has a download around 600 megabytes. Now the game offers about 3 to 4 hours of gameplay, and we follow a young warrior named Ava on a mission to raid the moon for special gems that her mom needs in order to stay alive. It features gorgeous graphics with vibrant colors, the controls feel great, and there's a good bit of variety in the environments and enemies, plus there are more than 10 different boss battles. Again, it's a really good value at just $1.99, and this time around the deal ends on the 9th. Now if you've bought any of their other games in the past, you can get it for even cheaper at just 49 cents, so make sure to check it out on the eShop and see if you qualify. Ritual Crown of Horns is a top-down action game with a Western horror theme, and it's incredibly difficult. Now the game is all-out action from the start, and it centers around an undead bounty hunter that's out for revenge. You take on waves of enemies and massive hordes, combining both weapons and spells as you make your way through. Eventually you can find and unlock new buffs or things to make you even stronger. Now again, it's definitely a tough game, but if you're up for the challenge, make sure to grab it up. It's at an all-time low, marked down 90% to just $1.99, and the deal ends on the 5th. Keep in mind that you will need a little over 4.5 gigs for the install. Up next we have Swords and Bones 2, which is a single-player action platformer with light RPG elements added in. It offers players 50 different levels that, of course, again, increase in difficulty and can really challenge your skills by the end. The download is under 100 megabytes, and for the sequel they went with a 16-bit style of graphics, inspired by games again from the late 80s and early 90s. Now luckily this time around the game does have a bit more depth with each of the different mechanics, and you have the ability to edit your loadout before each level, which is always nice. The game even offers multiple different endings, and right now you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 80%, and the deal ends on the 4th. Up next we have Anna's Quest, which is a single-player point-and-click adventure-style game that sort of reminds me of a dark fairy tale. It has a download just over 800 megabytes and offers a main story that should last roughly 10 hours to wrap up. Now the story follows Anna as she grows from a shy young girl into a strong young woman, and it's definitely a lot darker than I was expecting going in. The hand-drawn art style is top tier, along with the voice acting, and the characters in general are pretty interesting. Overall, it's a story that's fun to play through. If you're a fan of the genre, you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 90%, and the deal ends on the 11th. Up next we have Blackguards 2, which is a single-player turn-based strategy RPG with a pretty hefty download at just about 7.5 gigs, but the story does offer more than 15 hours of gameplay with good replay value as well. Now it offers plenty of different classes to accommodate different play styles, and the story itself has many different branching paths that you can take. It's one of those games where each decision you make alters the following events, so you really feel the weight behind them. On top of that, I enjoyed the combat as well. There are a bunch of spells and abilities that you can learn, and while it does get a bit repetitive, it starts off very strong. Right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 87%, and the deal ends again on the 11th. The Bug Butcher is a fun arcade-style shooter that offers 2-player local co-op, tons of stages full of fast-paced action, and plenty of replay value to justify the asking price. It's one of those vertical shooters where you have to position yourself under the enemy, as you can only shoot straight up in the air. Now the game is incredibly fun, but it can get pretty hectic as well, especially if you have a second player, and like usual, it's even more fun if you do have someone to play with. Right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 75%, again matching an all-time low until the 11th. Distraint, the Deluxe Edition, is a strange 2D adventure title that has a short runtime at just about 2 hours, but the story is pretty crazy. It's a psychological horror game that follows a young man named Price as he spirals out of control. Now the gameplay does involve some light puzzle solving, nothing too overly complicated though, and the sound design is incredible, really adding to that eerie feeling that the game is going for. On top of that, I love the graphical style as well. It's a great game to start off October with, and right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 67%, and the deal ends on the 11th. You'll need about 140 megabytes for the install. Up next we have Drawngeon, Dungeons of Ink and Paper, which is a single-player retro-style RPG that offers maybe 2 to 3 hours of gameplay, and everything is hand-drawn. The game has a download around 125 megabytes and features 3 different classes that you can play as, with procedurally generated locations as well, and randomized item placement, so the game stays fresh throughout. Now this is a great game for short play sessions as well, and right now it's currently marked down 60% and matching an all-time low at just $1.99. If you're interested in this one, make sure to grab it up before the deal ends on the 9th. Jak and Hat is a single-player arcade-style platformer from Two Awesome Studios with a small download around 160 megabytes, and it has a main story that should last roughly 7 to 8 hours to wrap up. Now the retro look and sound again are top-notch, and the game has 20 massive levels full of enemies, unlockables, and some pretty awesome boss fights as well. It was clearly inspired by Mario Odyssey, of course, complete with a hat that you can throw like a boomerang. It is a fun platformer though, and if you're interested in Jak and Hat, make sure to grab it up before the deal ends on the 11th. It's marked down to just $1.99, and again matching an all-time low. Up next we have The Pillars of Earth, which is a single-player point-and-click adventure game. This one offers more than 15 hours of gameplay, but it does have a download around 9.5 gigs, so you'll want to keep that in mind. Now the game is based on a popular book, and it does stay true to the source material, but it also allows us as the player to alter the outcome of some of the characters and change their fate entirely. The voice acting is done very well here, adding to the overall experience, and this is another great option for fans of the genre. Right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 90%, and the deal ends on the 11th. Pixboy is an ultra-retro single-player platformer with a roughly 6-hour story, and again it has a small download under 200 megabytes. Now it has a unique look as well and allows you to change that up in about 24 different ways with different color schemes that you can find based on older consoles or home PCs. Of course you'll have to unlock most of them as you play through. You can find coins that you can then spend to buy them, and there are about 40 different levels full of secrets, and again it's a surprisingly good game for the price. Right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 60% and matching an all-time low, and this time the deal ends on the 18th. Up next we have Smashroom, which is a single-player arcade-style platformer with a small download around 135 megabytes, and it features a unique movement and combat system that sort of takes a little getting used to at first, but feels great once you get it down. We play as a small mushroom that has the ability to explode, which can then be used to destroy objects, damage enemies, or even as a double jump mechanic when needed. It even offers a leveling up system where you can improve your attack speed or your defense, different things like that. The controls feel good for the most part, the jumping is a bit floaty, but overall for $1.99 this is a fun game that you can pick up with an 80% discount, and the deal ends on the 18th. Up next we have Lost Words Beyond the Page. This is a one-player story-driven platform adventure title from Modus Games with a download around 6 gigs, and it should take about 5 hours or so to wrap up. Now the game is narrated as you play through, and the innovative gameplay mechanic where you use words to help you work through the levels or even through the pages of the book that you're reading was way more fun than I was expecting. If you're interested in Lost Words Beyond the Page, make sure to grab it up before the deal ends on the 13th. It's marked down 85% to just $2.24 and matching an all-time low. The Panzer Dragoon Remake is a single-player arcade shooter from Forever Entertainment, and it has a pretty hefty download at about 9 gigs, but you can expect to get plenty of game time from the pickup. Now this is a beautiful remake that lets players fly on top of a dragon through 7 different stages, taking out tons of bad guys, and they can attack from all sides. The graphics and gameplay both are fantastic, really bringing the world to life, and being a fan of the Sega Saturn, I was definitely happy to see this remake. If you're interested in this one, it's at an unreal all-time low price of just $2.49, marked down 90%, and the deal ends on the 18th. Anima Gate of Memories is a single-player 3D RPG with a download around 3.5 gigs, and it offers more than 20 hours of gameplay, making it a great pickup this week. Now in this one, we take control of an immortal being that's stuck in permanent torment, forced to walk the planet forever. The story is engaging, the combat is fast and fluid, plus you have plenty of different options on how you choose to tackle that combat as well. The world itself is massive, holding tons of secrets that you can find, and the boss battles are incredible. If you're interested in Anima Gate of Memories, make sure to grab it up before the deal ends on the 8th. It's marked down 85% to just $2.99. Up next we have Bite the Bullet, which is a fun 2D platformer that offers local co-op for 2 players and has a unique mechanic in that you can eat different things that you find in the level, or even your enemies for random buffs or upgrades, or even to regain health. Now the game offers more than 50 levels, character customization with different skill trees, an expansive crafting system, and you have a ton of side quests that you can complete as well as you play through. This one comes with a download just under 3 gigs, and right now you can pick it up for just $2.99, marked down 80%, and the deal ends on the 6th. Next we have Strikey Sisters, which is a brick breaker style game with a small download under 200 megabytes and a main story that will last about 5 to 10 hours to wrap up. Again, this one has local co-op for 2 players, which can get a bit hectic, but it's also another game that is even more fun if you do have someone to play with. It has a great soundtrack and the story is comedic with incredibly cheesy dialogue, but that's done by design. There are even boss battles which were pretty cool as well, and right now Strikey Sisters is on sale for just $2.99, marked down 70%, and the deal ends on the 11th. Within the Blade is an incredible 2D action platformer that prioritizes fun combat and fast gameplay. It has a download under 200 megabytes and offers about 10 hours of gameplay. In addition, you have multiple difficulty settings which do range from hard to insanely hard, so this is definitely a tough game. The good news though is that it has tight and responsive controls, the art and animations are all done very well, and you even have a crafting system in place with a ton of recipes that you can use. On top of that, there are a few other RPG mechanics thrown into the mix, and I highly recommend that you pick this one up if you haven't played yet. Right now it's on sale for just $3.29, marked down 70%, and the deal ends on the 11th. Up next we have Fury Unleashed, which is a multiplayer action platform shooter with a download around 1.3 gigs and should last again about 10 to 15 hours. Now in this one we blast our way through the pages of a comic book, trying to uncover the mystery behind our creator. The combat is fast and intense, and they have a combo system in place that rewards you for getting a ton of kills in rapid order. On top of that, it again has 2-player action, this time both online or locally, and another cool feature is that you can customize and even unlock new cosmetics for your character. Now I have to emphasize the beautiful artwork, it is absolutely outstanding, and right now you can pick up Fury Unleashed for just $3.99, marked down 80%, bringing it back to an all-time low, and the deal ends on the 10th. Next we have Panic Porcupine, which is a single-player retro-inspired platformer that sort of plays out like a mashup of Sonic and Super Meat Boy. It gives the player more than 50 levels with cool environments and deadly traps that you'll have to avoid. There are also collectibles that you can find, and while the game can get quite challenging towards the end, it does give you unlimited lives, so with enough practice, you'll get there. It looks like it could have released back in the old 16-bit days, and they nailed the retro look. If you're interested in this one, make sure to grab it up before the deal ends on the 8th. It's marked down to half price at just $3.99. Shakedown Hawaii is a single-player top-down adventure title that plays a lot like older GTA games. It has us following a businessman as he attempts to shake down other local businesses and take over the island. Now while you're playing through, you'll switch between a couple different characters, and it features brutal gunplay, responsive controls, and a pretty comedic story about an old man having to catch up with modern technology in order to keep his criminal empire thriving. The game really is as close as you can get to a GTA clone, and right now it's on sale for just $4.99, marked down 75% until the 4th of next month. You'll need a little under 200 megabytes for the install. Up next we have Timelie, which is a single-player puzzle-style adventure game with a download around 2 gigs, and it offers about 5 to 6 hours of gameplay on average. Now the unique feature to this game is that as the player we have the ability to control time almost like you would a video player. You can rewind it and fast forward or even pause, and this is used to complete puzzles or even get a quick glance into the future, so that way you can see events before they happen. You control both the main character and her sidekick, a little cat that can help distract enemies or solve puzzles, and it's a pretty fun game once you get the hang of it. Right now it's on sale for just $4.99, marked down 75%, and the deal ends again on the 11th. Alright everyone, here are a few other games to check out while you're already on the eShop.
13 years ago, to this day, a dark seer was burned at the stake.
get you home. But you know what being here means, right?
It's a dream world?
It's a world between life and death.
The ship was sinking. No! Catch off!
Alright everyone, that wraps up today's video. Please leave a like if you had a good time or we hope you find any cool games to pick up. Feel free to jump into the convo down below, and of course subscribe if this was your first time here. Thanks to the channel members and the patrons, and as always, stay safe my friends.